After I had a sham divorce, he promised me we'd remarry in 2 months. When I found him, he was laughing and holding Chloe. Julian, are you really going to remarry your ex-wife? Fake. I just tricked her into divorcing me quickly. Later, as my current husband and I were getting intimate at home, Julian came over, catching them in the act. How could you do this to me? Don't forget, ours was a sham divorce. Julian roared at me, his eyes bloodshot. Oh really? I don't remember. So what am I to you now? Just an ex-husband. Today marked the 5th month since Julian and I had our sham divorce. I went to the office building to find him. When are you going to remarry me? It's been almost half a year. What did you promise me? Julian sat behind his desk, his glasses concealing his indifference. In a little while. Still the same line. I was about to lose my temper. He pushed a debit card across the desk to me. All right, just go out. Stop making a scene. I have work to do. I feigned a bitter smile, tugging at the corners of my mouth. Then I took the debit card. The moment the office door closed, I couldn't suppress the smile on my face any longer. He thought I was still in the dark, but unfortunately, I already knew the truth. While he still felt some guilt towards me, I might as well get more out of him. Without love, I wanted plenty of money. I didn't leave the office building immediately. Instead, I went to the restroom. However, just as I emerged from the restroom, I heard Julian's voice. Perfect timing, I wanted to talk to you about something. What's wrong? What happened? This was Caleb's voice. We had known each other for 10 years, we were practically best friends. I still remembered what Julian once told me, even if everyone in the world betrayed him, his best friend Caleb would stand by his side. The reason was that during high school, they went swimming, and Julian almost drowned due to a leg cramp. Caleb was the first to notice something was wrong and rescued Julian. As the saying goes, it was an unbreakable bond. Grace came by today. I raised an eyebrow, since Grace was my name. Julian then let out a sigh. She came again, asking when I'd remarry her. I really want to tell her I won't. But I'm afraid she'll break down. You know, she pursued him relentlessly for 4 years, loved him to death. I'm really afraid if I tell her, she'll go crazy. Crazy? Caleb sounded surprised. Aren't you overthinking it? Never mind. You're the only mutual friend between her and me. When you see her, prepare her emotionally for it. That way, it'll be easier for me to tell her. Of course, your business is my business. Caleb agreed quickly and smoothly. All right, if there's nothing else, I'll head out. With that, Caleb turned and left. I tugged at the corner of my mouth and also walked out of the office building. I immediately saw the car waiting for me. The moment I sat inside, I was already locked in a passionate kiss with the man who had been waiting for me. Suddenly, he gently bit me, and a slight pain shot through me. I looked up at him. Caleb, why did you bite me? Caleb reached out and touched my cheek. His warm, dry hand pressed firmly against me. Because I hate you going to see him. I chuckled, leaning into his embrace. So you followed me, huh? Yes. Caleb hugged me tightly, his warm voice pouring into my ear. I can't wait to tell everyone that you're with me. I patted Caleb's shoulder, laughing playfully. Just a little longer. Caleb didn't complain or ask any questions, he simply said, okay. Honestly, I didn't know what I was waiting for. I suppose, deep down, I hated Julian. Just as Julian said. I pursued him from my freshman year to his senior year, a full 4 years. I never missed an opportunity to see him, tirelessly introducing myself, just so he would remember me. During those 4 years, I confessed my feelings to him 4 times. Each time, without exception, he rejected me. But I never thought of giving up. I continued to appear by his side as usual. The turning point came after a car accident he had. At that time, I voluntarily took on the responsibility of caring for him. For 3 whole months, I stayed at the hospital. It felt as though his pain was my own. I tried every possible way to make him happy. Perhaps he was touched by my actions, feeling that being irresponsible would be an insult to his character. So, on the day he was discharged, he asked me if I would marry him. I agreed without hesitation. Tears streamed down my face. After that day, despite my parents' objections, I secretly got married to him. And I hadn't been home in a long time. I was too ashamed to go back. Later, I always pondered one question. Never mistake gratitude for love. While he ruined himself, he also ruined me. I gave him everything, betrayed everything for him. Yet, even the divorce was a trick he played on me. How ridiculous. The next day, just as I woke up, I saw that the news of me going to the office building yesterday to see Julian had hit trending online. The headline read, Mr. Julian's ex-wife at the office building during, suspected of forcing. I tugged at the corner of my mouth, just about to lie back down and continue sleeping. The door suddenly began to be knocked on urgently. Peeking through the peephole, I saw a woman standing outside. She was tall, curvaceous, with brown curly hair falling to her chest, a completely different type from me. I remembered her. The first time I saw her was in a private booth. That day was exactly 2 months after Julian had promised to remarry me, and I went to find him. Through the slightly ajar private booth door, I saw her laughing in Julian's arms. Julian, are you really going to remarry your ex-wife? Fake. I just tricked her into divorcing me quickly. The last sentence was spoken by Julian. In that instant, I felt as if I had fallen into an ice cellar, my heart seemingly ripped out alive. I saw no blood. Yet it hurt so much. In the end, Caleb took me away. He stayed with me in the coffee shop for as long as I sat there. It was also that day that Caleb told me he would stand by me. I asked why. He said he loved me, had loved me from the moment he first saw me. Love me? I couldn't help but scoff. Love, what was love? I was no longer clear on that. So I sneered, if you love me, then let's get married tomorrow. I wanted to savagely mock love. I wanted to prove that love was the cheapest thing in the world. The door was suddenly pounded twice by the woman, abruptly interrupting my thoughts. I quickly sent a message to Julian. A beauty is looking for you at home. With that, I opened the door. Excuse me, can I help you? I asked the beautiful woman. She, however, disdainfully sized me up. I have something to tell you. Aren't you going to invite me in? Before I could refuse, she confidently walked into the room. And, like she owned the place, she sat directly on the sofa. My name is Chloe, and I'm Julian's girlfriend. She stated it bluntly. I nodded indifferently, not understanding what she meant. She seemed displeased with my attitude, so she raised her voice. I'm here today to tell you that Julian is not going to remarry you. Stop going to the office building to find him. Now you're causing such a stir trending online. Every time you seek him out, you only cause him trouble, understand? Oh, really? I said coolly. How long have you two been together? That question hit Chloe right where it hurt. She crossed her arms over her chest. Over a year. So, Julian had already cheated on me when he and I were still married. I raised my hand and touched my chest, and it didn't hurt at all. Perhaps had truly exhausted all my love. Before I could ask anything else, the door was urgently pushed open again. Julian was back. What are you doing here? Julian's face was etched with displeasure, and his tone was harsh. Chloe frantically stood up from the sofa. Julian. Enough. For work matters, you can contact my secretary. There's no need to come to home to find me. Julian abruptly cut off Chloe before she could finish speaking. Chloe's face instantly turned pale. I stood by, watching the farce unfold. Well, I'll just go then. Chloe practically fled in a panic. Julian's gaze finally fell on me. He opened his mouth, instinctively wanting to explain. Julian, you don't need to explain to me, I interrupted him. I understand. Businessmen, sometimes they have to play along with appearances. Hearing me say that, he also let out a sigh of relief. It's good that you understand. Julian paused suddenly. She didn't tell you anything else, did she? I think she did. I deliberately paused, watching Julian's anxious expression, and felt a strange sense of satisfaction. I forgot anyway. It wasn't anything important, I added with a smile. That's good, that's good. Julian glanced at his watch. I'll handle the trending online matter as soon as possible. Don't overthink it. Okay. Are you coming back tonight? I have to work late, so no, I won't be back. I struggled to suppress my laughter as I saw Julian to the door. After left, I sent a message to Caleb. Soon, Caleb arrived. And he brought me a bouquet of roses. He said the most beautiful flowers were for his dearest. I chuckled, reaching out to accept them. Thank you. Don't be so polite with me, it would upset me. Caleb took my hand, lacing his fingers with mine. What do you want to eat tonight? I'll cook for you. I tilted my head, thinking. Braised pork belly, I guess. No problem. Caleb leaned in and kissed my cheek, then walked into the kitchen. He skillfully tied on my pink apron and began washing vegetables. I leaned against the doorframe, my gaze fixed on him. His head was slightly bowed, veins bulging faintly on his exposed arms from the slight effort, and then I noticed his strong, articulate fingers preparing the vegetables. There was an indescribable sexiness about it. Then I felt my heart quicken its beat. For no particular reason, I wished time would stand still. However, just as Caleb finished preparing the meal, and he and I were about to start eating, We heard the sound of someone entering a password from outside the door. The next second, the door opened. Julian had actually come back. I'm back. Julian took off his overcoat and met my gaze, then his eyes fell on Caleb. His face clearly showed astonishment. Perfect timing. You're back just in time to join us for dinner, I said, smiling to smooth things over. Indeed. Caleb echoed. Julian's gaze swept over the roses on the coffee table, then he walked over and sat down beside me. Roses. Did you buy them? Julian asked Caleb. Caleb and I exchanged a glance, then he nodded without hesitation. Yes, I bought them. I figured I'd bring them over and ask Grace if girls generally like these things. Julian let out a sigh of relief, and the expression on his face softened slightly. The dinner finished without much incident. I took the dishes and utensils into the kitchen, faintly hearing Julian and Caleb's conversation. Julian, we've known each other for so many years. You still don't trust me? Caleb paused, then added, besides, wasn't it you who asked me to come over to your home? You told me to talk to Grace more often. My apologies, I overthought it. Alright, let's not talk about this anymore. Let's go for a drink tonight. It's been a while since we relaxed. Okay. Then let's go, Caleb said naturally. Julian and Caleb then walked into the kitchen. I won't be back tonight, I have something to go out for, Julian said to me. I nodded, and when I looked at Caleb, I saw him wink at me. I suppressed my laughter and said, feigning concern, take care of yourself. Then the two of them quickly left. I had just returned to the bedroom. The in my pocket vibrated violently. I picked up the phone, instantly freezing in place. It was Mom calling. Since I married Julian against my parents' wishes, I had lost touch with them. It wasn't that I didn't want to go back, or didn't want to call. It was that I didn't dare, I felt I wasn't worthy. Just as the call was about to automatically disconnect, I frantically answered. Hello, is that Grace? Mom's familiar and kind voice filled my ears, instantly bringing a pang of bitterness. Mom, it's me. You're Robert and I saw the news. Julian, you divorced, didn't you? Yes. Then come home tomorrow. You're Robert and we miss you. Without him, you still have your dad and me. Don't be sad over him. Mom's choked voice reached my ears. I couldn't hold back my tears any longer. Okay, I'll come home tomorrow. Mom's call kept me from sleeping well that night. Because my home was in Maplewood, it took about 4 hours to drive there. So, at the first hint of dawn, I got up to pack. Before leaving, I sent Caleb a message, I'm going home. Caleb replied almost instantly, okay, drive safe. By 9 in the morning, I was back home. But when I stood at the door, I felt afraid. My heart felt submerged in seawater, the suffocating and uneasy feeling making my legs weak. However, before I could squat down to compose myself, the door opened from the inside the next second. Before I could react, Mom had already embraced me. You stubborn child, how could you be so heartless, not calling me for years? Did you think you'd never come home if I didn't call you? Even after divorcing, you didn't come home or tell me. Her tears fell onto my clothes, stinging my skin. The remorse in my heart almost overwhelmed me. I'm sorry, it's all my fault. I cried out, almost unleashing all the grievances of those years. Alright. Our daughter is finally back, stop crying for now. Dad gently patted Mom's back. I'm not crying anymore. Let's all stop crying. Mom kindly took my hand. Your Robert specially made all your favorite dishes. Come and try them quickly. Okay. Audied vigorously in response. All day, my parents didn't mention Julian. I knew they were afraid I'd be upset. It wasn't until dusk that Mom cautiously spoke. Daughter, do you still want to get back with him? I firmly shook my head. No. Sigh. Mom, however, let out a soft sigh. You're Robert and I reflected on things this time. Whatever decision you make, we'll support you. Just, don't stop coming home again. The light fell upon my parents, clearly revealing the wrinkles around their eyes, and their hair was no longer as black as it once was. Dad, Mom, I'm sorry. I cried as I knelt on the floor. I knew I had been wrong. Parents always think of their children in every way, yet children often believe the outside world is freedom and paradise. I once thought that having love meant having the whole world. Later, I realized that my parents were my whole world. After 4 years, I once again stayed in my former bedroom. It was clear my room was frequently cleaned, every corner was as spotless as yesterday. Just as I lay down on the bed, Julian called me. Come pick me up, I'm drunk. His slurred voice, accompanied by noisy background sounds, reached my ears. I instinctively frowned. Because his words reminded me of the past. Back then, I was particularly afraid of Julian drinking, afraid someone would take advantage of him. So I told Julian that if he ever got drunk, he absolutely had to call me, and I would pick him up. We were already divorced, yet Julian had remembered that promise so clearly. Before I could refuse, Caleb's voice came through from the other end of the phone. Grace, you don't need to worry about him. I'll take him home. Caleb seemed to have moved to a quieter spot. The noisy background faded, replaced by only his deep, pleasant voice. Did you miss me? Before I could speak, he added, I missed you. A sudden gasp came from his end. Caleb spoke again, gotta go. Julian fell. I'll take him home first. Okay. I answered softly. I turned my he. Had to look out the window, Caleb's words echoing repeatedly in my mind. Did you miss me? However, the next day, when I went downstairs to take out the trash, I immediately saw Caleb. He was standing downstairs at my home, his gaze raw and sincere. What are you doing here? When did you get here? I asked in disbelief. His gaze, however, seemed to flicker. Did I disturb you? His cautious demeanor saddened me. My heart, hidden in my chest, felt as if it had been struck. So I decisively shook my head, denying it. No. That's good. Without warning, Caleb suddenly leaned down and hugged me. I just missed you too much, wanted to come and see you. I'll leave in a bit. A subtle coolness from his body wafted over me. I knew he must have been waiting for a long time. He didn't dare message me, afraid of disturbing my sleep, or alarming my family, so he just waited outside silently by himself. I hugged him back gently. It's not like I'm not going back. I'm just a little scared. Scared that this is all fake. I sensed his uneasiness. So I kissed him twice on the cheek. How could it be fake? Caleb finally smiled again, a gentle breeze sweeping across his slightly reddened eyes. He said, I bought some fruit and tea. You can take them up to Mom and Dad later. Okay, thank you for your thoughtfulness. It's nothing. Later, I found out that Julian had mumbled my name in his sleep that night after getting drunk. This made Caleb a little uneasy. He was afraid I would go back to Julian. Just as Caleb turned to leave, I suddenly, inexplicably, called out to him. Caleb. He stopped, turning back to look at me. What is it? Once I move back, let's go public. Really? I nodded vigorously, confirming, yes, really. I couldn't, and wouldn't, let down someone who loved me so deeply. I wasn't Julian, I knew how to cherish love. The first thing I did after returning was pack my bags. I not only planned to move out of the apartment Julian and I once shared, I also listed it for sale online. Julian found out about this news immediately. When I came out of the bathroom, I found Julian had called me 10 times. When the 11th call rang, I calmly answered it. You're selling our apartment? Yes. Why? Before I could speak, Julian said again, I know you want to remarry me, but you can't use these tactics. You know, this house was left to me by Grandma, it's very important to me. Then you can buy it back at a high price, I said calmly. I gazed at the night sky, speaking calmly. The slightly cool evening breeze rustled my dark hair, and suddenly a blanket was draped over my back. I turned my head, meeting Caleb's deep eyes. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. With that, I hung up the phone directly. The weather's getting colder. Be careful not to catch a cold. Okay. I leaned gently into Caleb's embrace, feeling his fervent heartbeat. This was a kind of concern I had never received from Julian. 3 in the morning. The suddenly rang. It woke both Caleb and me. Caleb cupped my ear with one hand and reached for the phone. It was a call from Julian. Caleb didn't even think before pressing disconnect. But the next second, the phone rang again. Knowing's temper, Caleb reluctantly answered. Hello, Julian, what's up? Caleb, do you know where Grace is? She hasn't been home for days, and she's listed the apartment for sale. I can't find her to talk. Caleb glanced at me, and the arm he had around me tightened slightly. Is that so? Can you help me find her? Julian paused on the other end of the phone, then added, I'm not worried about anything else. I'm just afraid she might try to harm herself because I won't remarry her. I suddenly sat halfway up, staring intently at Caleb's phone. Me, harming myself for him? Does he think he's some irreplaceable treasure? If I lose him, I should just die. So, without hesitation, I snatched the phone. Julian, you're overthinking it. I won't die, and I certainly won't die for you. The cold moonlight fell on half of my face, as if to cleave me apart. There was a long silence on the other end of the phone. I thought after that night, Julian would understand. However, to my utter surprise, Julian showed up the next day. I happened to run into Julian as I went downstairs. Before I could speak, Julian grabbed my wrist. How can you be staying at Caleb's home? No matter how close you are, he's still a man. Julian frowned deeply, speaking in a stern, formal tone. Come back with me. I truly couldn't figure Julian out. Was he pretending to be stupid, or was he genuinely dense? I'm not going back. I won't ever go back. I forcefully shook off Julian's hand, my voice cold and hard. Julian let out a soft sigh, seemingly tired. You heard my conversation with Caleb yesterday. I didn't speak, looking directly at him. Julian raised his hand, pulling a cigarette from his pocket and putting it in his mouth. He took a deep drag and blew out a perfect smoke ring. You know, if Caleb and I hadn't known each other for so many years, I'd almost suspect you two were together. What if he and I are together? I held back my sarcasm and countered. The next second, Julian ground out his cigarette under his foot. Impossible. I shrugged, wondering where he got such confidence. We'll remarry in a little while, so can we please stop fighting? Before I could speak, Julian's phone suddenly vibrated. It was his secretary's call. He answered twice in quick succession, then hung up the phone. Something's come up at the office building. I have to go. I'll buy back the apartment, and you can move back in any time. Then strode away. Paparazzi certainly earned their name. As soon as Julian bought back the apartment at a high price, that very night, I was trending online again. The headline read, Countdown to Mr. Julian's remarriage with ex-wife. I was so angry I almost threw my phone, but patted my back. Alright, don't be angry. Come eat. He Ntly hugged me, his soft hair brushing against my cheek. Aren't you angry? I asked him. No need. As long as you're by my side right now, that's all that matters. Caleb's words pierced my heart, and I gently wrapped my arms around him. Perfect. Let's go public now. Since didn't believe it, I'd show him with reality. I opened the camera, pointed it at Caleb and me, and pressed the shutter button. Since it was a one-handed shot, the photo was a bit blurry. But it didn't matter, it was enough to clarify things. So I went on social media and posted the photo with the caption, I will never remarry Julian. Caleb watched me post it, his deep gaze seemingly wanting to draw me into his eyes. I reached out and touched his cheek. Why aren't you smiling? Because I'd rather kiss you. I widened my eyes slightly, and the next second, Caleb's kiss descended. Forceful, allowing no evasion from me. Perhaps due to my biological clock, I woke up promptly at 7 in the morning. I turned my head to look at Caleb lying beside me, his full forehead, his prominent nose, his rosy lips that made one want to kiss them. Looking at him made me feel stirred again. However, before I could act, the door was knocked on urgently and forcefully. I got up, puzzled, wondering who would be knocking so early. A delivery person? Impatiently, I got up, put on my robe, and, barefoot, opened the door. Who is it? The rest of my words caught in my throat. Standing outside the door was Julian. Who is he? Who is that man? Julian roared at me in anger. Tell me, who is that pretty boy, daring to covet my wife? Julian pushed past me, attempting to barge in. I instinctively grabbed his arm. He looked back at me in disbelief, his eyes instantly turning bloodshot. What do you mean? Are you protecting him? Julian paused, his voice hoarse. Brace, don't forget, ours was just a sham divorce. Is a sham divorce not a divorce? I retorted. Julian instantly understood what I meant. The divorce certify. Kate was real, so it was a real divorce. Who cared what you said initially, whether it was fake or not? So you have no right to control who I'm with. Who I'm with is my freedom. I paused. Besides, he's not a pretty boy. Then what is he? Tell me what he is. What am I to you now? Julian abruptly cut off my unfinished sentence, looking at me with sorrow. The blade of the sham divorce finally fell upon him. Just an ex-husband. I shrugged. Julian suddenly laughed. A bitter smile spread across his lips, reaching all the way to his ears. But the words he spoke were terrifying. I'm going to kill him. With that, Julian forcefully flung my hand away. He headed straight for the bedroom. However, before Julian could push open the bedroom door, it opened from the inside. Caleb walked out, his upper body bare. Julian seemed to be in disbelief, his pupils constantly dilating and contracting. Huh. You too, what are you doing? Julian shook his head to himself. Caleb, don't tell me that man Grace posted on social media is you. It is me. The moment Caleb's words fell, the entire room instantly fell silent, leaving only faint breathing sounds. Good. Julian glared at Caleb, his eyes blazing with fury. Soon, Julian grabbed Caleb by the collar and violently shoved him against the wall. Caleb, I treated you as my best friend. Is this how you repay me? Sleeping with my wife behind my back, secretly cuckolding me. Caleb, facing Julian's rage, remained remarkably composed. Julian, I didn't sleep with your wife, nor did I cuckold you. You and Grace are already divorced. She belongs to herself, she has the right to pursue love. And as a single man, I also have the right to pursue someone I like. Caleb looked up, meeting Julian's eyes directly, and spoke again, enunciating each word. You didn't cherish her. Are you not allowing anyone else to? These words were like a thorn. And instantly, Julian, who was like a puffed-up balloon, was deflated. After that day, I never saw Julian again. And I didn't care. Caleb and I were busy planning where to go for Newsday. But that day, I received a call from Grandma. Staring at Grandma's name flashing on the phone, I felt like I was dreaming. Because Eleanor had never liked me, from the time I married her grandson until now. Every year, Julian would even go home by himself. And because I had fallen out with my parents, I was left alone in the apartment. I once suggested going home with Julian for New. At the time, I even ridiculously swore to him that I would absolutely defer to Grandma and not let her get angry. But still refused me. He said, you know, Grandma is old and can't handle too many emotional fluctuations. The implication was clear, don't go. I thought, Julian's grandson and I were already divorced, so why was she calling me? Just as the call was about to disconnect, I tapped to answer. Hello. Is that Grace? It is. Julian. Julian hasn't been to the office building for days. Would it be convenient for you to go check on him? This was the first time I had heard words that could be described as pleading from Grandma. After all, when Julian first took me to meet her, she didn't say a single word to me, but her entire demeanor radiated contempt. I'm sorry, Julian and I are already divorced, I said coolly. I refused coolly. I know, but I'm an old woman and I really don't know what else to do. His assistant went, and I went too, but Julian still won't open the door. I'm begging you as his grandmother, please, okay? Her aged voice was laced with sobs. I understood Julian's importance to her. After his parents died in a car accident, she was the one who raised him. I swallowed twice, my heart filled with conflict. I couldn't refuse an elderly woman's request, yet at the same time, I truly didn't want to have any more involvement with Julian. Just then, someone took my hand. Following the strong, articulate hand, I saw Caleb's face. He nodded gently at me. I instantly understood what he meant. Caleb could never bear to see me in a difficult situation. So I slowly said, okay, I'll go see Julian. Really? That's wonderful. Thank you, Grace. I hung up the phone and met Caleb's eyes. Will you come with me? Yes. He answered firmly. Caleb drove me back to the apartment. I'll wait for you here. Okay, I'll be quick. Just as I was about to get out of the car, Caleb suddenly grabbed my wrist. I turned to look at him, but then he abruptly released my hand. He looked at me with restraint. If you're not out in 10 minutes, I'm coming in to find you. I realized his panic and unease, so I leaned in and kissed his cheek. Okay. Finally, a smile broke out on his face. I got out of the car and skillfully entered the door code. It was still the date Julian and I got married, the one I had set. With a click, the door opened, and I walked inside. For a moment, I wondered if I had stepped into another world. The apartment was pitch black, not a sliver of sunlight penetrated. A sickening smell of stale smoke and alcohol hung in the air. I frowned deeply and quickly turned on the lights. Instantly, the room was bathed in light. I saw Julian lying shirtless on the sofa. I couldn't tell if he was asleep or worse. I walked straight over to him and forcefully shook him awake. Julian. Julian groggily opened his eyes. When his gaze landed on me, he abruptly sat halfway up. You're back? I subtly took half a step back. Now that you're awake, you should call Grandma back right away. Don't make her worry. I paused. I'm leaving. With that, I turned to leave. Julian, as if waking from a dream, blocked my path in 2 quick steps. His eyes were bloodshot, and his face was deathly pale. You can't leave. Who said you could go? Though he'd shouted the words fiercely, the very next second his voice faltered. Let's get remarried right now, okay? I don't care that you were with him. Let's start over. He looked at you with profound sorrow. I stared back at him in silence. Please. His voice trembled, and then I saw his tears. They streamed down his face, like pearls scattering freely. But all I felt was a bitter amusement. Julian, you only want to remarry me now because I'm with your brother, and you can't stand it. I pulled my lips into a sarcastic smile and tried to walk around him. Just as I brushed past him, Julian grabbed my arm. It's not because I can't stand it, it's because I like you. I looked at him, unmoved. Oh really? But I can't remarry you, because Caleb and I are married. If I remarried you, it would be bigamy. Then I forcefully pulled my hand from Julian's grasp and pushed the door open, leaving. When I walked out, Caleb was standing right at the entrance. He didn't ask what had happened inside. He just took my hand, his grip firm. I know where you went on Newsday. Where? Come home with me, Caleb said with a smile. I stood there, taken aback, and instinctively stopped walking. This is too sudden. No, it's not. They've known for a while that I got married. Now it's time to bring you back for them to meet you. But I'm a little scared. Don't be scared. I'm here. Caleb and I walked forward, side by side. The setting sun cast our shadows behind us, two figures pressed closely together. Caleb and I got married the day after he confessed his feelings to me, when we got our marriage license. He said then that he loved me. I didn't believe him at all. I thought he was just playing a joke on me. Anger and indignation swelled inside me, so I sneered, if you love me, then come with me to City Hall tomorrow and get married. And agreed without hesitation. And the very next morning, he took me to City Hall. After that day, Julian tried to contact me several times. I simply blocked his number. I didn't want any more ties to him. On Year's Day, I did end up going home with Caleb. Truthfully, I felt insecure. After all, I was divorced. I was a fry. Caleb would be ridiculed. Suddenly, I felt like I wasn't good enough for Caleb at all, and saw right through my apprehension. He lifted my chin, making me meet his gaze. Grace, if it's not you, I don't want anyone else. I nodded, my eyes welling up with tears. As long as I could be happy, nothing else mattered. No matter what you've been through, you have the right to pursue happiness. My parents are really easy to get along with. Don't worry. Caleb was right. His parents were open-minded and liked me very much. They had prepared all my favorite dishes and kept piling food onto my plate. The warm and harmonious atmosphere let me know it was all thanks to Caleb. He had made his parents like me. Outside, heavy snow fell, quickly blanketing the ground. It's not safe to drive in heavy snow at night. Why don't you go back tomorrow? Caleb's mother said. I had no reason to refuse. So I stayed the night. When I walked into Caleb's childhood bedroom, I was greeted by walls lined with model cars and various Rubik's cubes. My gaze drifted downwards and was immediately drawn to a photo on his desk. It was an elementary school class photo. What caught my eye was that I saw myself in that photo. I instinctively picked up the photo for a closer look. It was definitely me. Before I could figure it out, the bedroom door opened again. Caleb walked in. He immediately noticed the photo in my hand. You found it, after all. I looked at him, puzzled. What do you mean? Caleb pulled me to sit on the edge of the bed and pointed at a boy in the front row wearing dark-rimmed glasses. My name used to be Caleb. I stared at him, wide-eyed in disbelief. Caleb. The name struck a chord with me. I remembered that when my parents' work moved us to a new elementary school, the first person I met was Caleb. He was small and skinny and always wore glasses. He looked like an honest, obedient kid. And those kinds of kids were often the least popular in class. There were always kids who enjoyed picking on them. That's exactly how Caleb was back then. One time, I was late for school and happened to see Caleb being cornered by those kids at the school entrance. Without a second thought, I ran to find the school security guard and rescued Caleb from them. Caleb's face was streaked with tears and his school uniform was covered in mud. It made me feel uneasy to see him like that. So I said, what's the point of crying? If crying worked, everyone would just cry all day. Then what should I do? If you can fight them off, fight. If you can't, run. That was the only conversation I remembered, because Caleb transferred schools after that day. I looked at Caleb in disbelief, scrutinizing him from head to toe. You're really Caleb? So why did you change your name, and stop wearing glasses anymore? A master said my original name wasn't good, so Mom changed my name. And I don't wear glasses anymore because I had corrective eye surgery. I quirked my lips, teasing him deliberately. You didn't happen to fall for me back then, did you? Caleb didn't deny it. Instead, he nodded openly. Yes, it was from that day. When I saw you running toward me then, it was like an angel rushing to my rescue. So, I love you. Even if you don't love me, I will always love you. Caleb pulled me into a tight embrace. I heard the choke in his voice and felt the tremor in his body. I hugged him back just as tightly. We'll spend countless seasons together. How can that not be love? So, I love you too. Epilogue name is Caleb. I was known as Caleb before. As a child, I was a picky eater, which made me small and scrawny. My hair was even yellowish from lack of nutrition. Mom criticized me for it constantly, but I completely ignored her. Because I didn't understand what was so good about choking down eggs, or what was appealing about the fermented taste of yogurt. The consequence of refusing these foods was that from the moment I started school, I always sat in the front row. Stood in the front row during exercises, and stood in the front row during singing. I always thought these things were unimportant. Until the bullying started. It was an ordinary day. The kid who was always bullied, the one with a limp, dropped out of school. The teacher asked me to clear out his desk. I immediately saw a backpack inside. I thought he must have forgotten it. So I placed his backpack on the floor in the back row. But that simple act provoked the bullies. Just as the class bell rang, they swaggered back in. They immediately spotted the backpack, and after a moment of surprise, they kicked it across the room. Who the hell put this backpack here? He yelled out, startling me. It was me. I stood up, meeting his gaze. Interesting. They looked me up and down and spoke softly. Only later did I realize that my putting the bullied kid's backpack on the floor was both a provocation and a source of fear for them. It wasn't that they didn't know it was wrong, but they enjoyed the thrill of dominating others. And pleasure always won out. From that day on, I became the one being bullied. They would fill my backpack with ink, just like the one I'd placed on the floor. Before I even had a chance to fight back, my savior arrived. That day, like many others, I was cornered by them at the school entrance. Just as I braced myself for another round of taunts, I saw Grace. She ran toward me like an angel, so much so that I forgot to cry. I don't remember anything she said to me. I gazed at her, utterly enchanted, with only the sound of my thumping heart in my ears. Unfortunately, after that day, we lost touch. Mom found out about the bullying and transferred me to a different school. I didn't even get a chance to thank her. I thought then that I would surely have the chance to thank her someday. So when I met her again in college, I believed it was fate, a gift from above. I was both happy and sad. Happy to reunite, but sad that she had forgotten me and had fallen f. Or Julian, my best friend. I could only suppress my love and watch her pour all her efforts into Julian. I thought if she could be happy, then that would be my happiness. Unfortunately, Julian didn't bring her happiness. Julian grew tired of Grace's affection. He began to crave freedom, yet he was afraid of Grace causing a scene. If he didn't love her, why was he afraid? But I didn't want to point that out. So he tricked Grace into a divorce. I knew when he tricked Grace into divorcing. I couldn't stop it, because I knew my chance had come. My suppressed love had been growing wildly and had become a towering tree. I couldn't hold it back any longer. If you asked me which memory I wanted to forget the most, it would definitely be the day Grace learned Julian had deceived her. Her pain was my pain. And the fact that I love Grace. That has never changed, from beginning to end. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your opinions. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.